Hey, welcome back to the Catholic Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Fisher. Today we have a couple. Brendan actually reached out to me via email about his newer Catholic company. I had never heard of this before, ProselyTies. I'm really excited to chat with him. I'm a proud owner of two of these ties, but I would rather have Brendan and Amber talk about them themselves. So bring them on in here. Brendan, Amber, how are you doing?
We're doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for taking the time to join. Why don't you go ahead and just start by introducing yourselves and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Brendan. This is my lovely wife, Amber. And we started a Catholic necktie business we called ProselyTies. So it's a play on the word proselytize. and I people seem to really love the name and the type of brand.
Yes, and we are an Aggie, Army, and Catholic-owned business. So we're both graduates from Texas A&M, products of St. Mary's Catholic Center. And we just started this business because we really saw a large need for it in our universal church. So especially in the Western world, there wasn't really a means for men to express their faith, especially in a formal setting. And so that's when we came up with ProselyTies. And we're partners in the business. We're starting it together. And I am currently a stay-at-home mom. I was unfortunately laid off a couple years ago. But this has been a wonderful venture, and I can finally do something based on my faith. And I can also help our men out to help them lead the church as well.
We were trying to find some way where, because this economy is tough, right?
Yeah.
So her job before was online with an agriculture consulting company. So the issue is how do we, because if it was up to me, I wouldn't have her, work at all. But it's definitely helpful. But where we would never want, Amber to work outside the house because, we like to say we'd rather have to be eating rice and beans for the long-term future than, put our kids in daycare. So we were trying to come up with a means where we could provide a little bit of extra income at the same time tying the faith into it and promoting the faith. And ProselyTies seem to fit into that perfectly. The idea first came for ProselyTies when we went to the Blessed Karl of Austria symposium in Dallas. Mm-hmm. So we went together. She was supporting me in my role I have with Papal Swab International. So that's another organization I have, and it is dedicated to a group of papal soldiers who fought to defend Pope Pius IX in the Papal States during the Risorgimento. So that's the 19th century. During that time, there was still they still had the Papal States, the Papal territory. Italy wasn't unified, so they fought to defend the Pope. Anyway, so I went to the conference. They had a lot of vendors. I went with this organization, promote what we do in the books. And I do have some other merchandise, hats, T-shirts, just normal stuff. Included were some, just lower end ties. I just was trying to see what worked, what people wanted to support the organization. And there was a lot of interest in it. I don't know if you want to pick up. You like telling this part.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just noticed that when we were out there tabling, the ties sold like hotcakes. And there was one even with the
Kingdom of Two Sicilies.
The seal of the Kingdom of Two Sicilies. The tie, they were on a tie. And this man just bought it and he said, "Oh, I don't even know what this is, but I really need something faith-based to wear to Mass and stuff." And so I was just thinking, wow, this is a great opportunity and I can't believe no one's done this yet.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, on our way back home, we were brainstorming more ideas about what would be a good avenue to approach for a Catholic business. And of course, the ties came up as our experience, and we bounced names off each other. And then Amber came with the name ProselyTies, and it fit and it was perfect. And it was around this time, actually, that your show started. I remember watching the first episodes of Trevor. And then the episode with Sacrilegious, I think it was the second or third episode, but that was really influential actually for me.
Yeah.
I Yeah, it was really awesome to kind of, because my mind was thinking in these ways, and I was trying to see what other Catholics were doing. So I don't know how the algorithm gave you to me, but I'm really glad it did.
Yeah.
And they're also another like clothing accessory business. So that really helped us.
It was
just kind of see what it can look like, and they've been a massive inspiration to us. I mean, so much so before we even made our website. It was kind of ambitious, but we were reaching out to them for them potentially being like our manufacturer, like printing out our designs and stuff like that. But with what's it called? Five Brothers Brewing or no?
Oh no, they have their own printing facility.
Yeah, they're trying to start. They're trying to start printing.
But it just wasn't going to work with their setup, which we understand. So we went our own way, and it took several months, as you can imagine. We started building everything in April. We didn't launch until December, but here we are now.
That's so cool. How did you now that you've launched, how are you going about spreading the word? What have you done to market and advertise?
So my experience on social media, specifically Twitter, has helped significantly. I'd say about half of our sales come from Twitter. So I started my the Papal's Wall organization as a Twitter account before transitioning it to as an actual organization. And this year we're going to become a nonprofit. And I amassed over 10,000 followers over the course of 3 years. And so I'm very familiar with the Twitter community. So utilizing that social media and those connections, we just share and share and share. And honestly, I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised how many big names picked up our ties. Like Robert Shaw from the Latin Mass Society.
His name's Joseph Shaw.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Joseph Shaw, the Latin Mass Society.
Yeah.
We had that reporter just by one. What was his name again?
Matthew Gaspers.
Mm-hmm. So we've had some bigger names really come out and support us. Rick Barrett, the Armed Catholic. These are all just Twitter micro celebrities, if you will. Mm-hmm. So that's really helped a lot. I was really pleasantly surprised. There was even some natural momentum. I didn't really have to push and prod that much, but I know how to utilize social media because of that. And then in terms of the website design and just the Photoshop, I've developed very adequate, just average skills my time in Papal's Wall International with those. So with those skills, I was able to build the website and things like that over time.
Yeah, Brendan's very talented with the social media management side. But one thing I really enjoyed, we were inspired by Sacrilegious, was in-person vending. So getting out there and tabling, our first event was the Christmas Bazaar at St. Joseph Catholic Church, our home parish. And it was kind of small, really dingy, rainy day. So not a lot of people got out there, but I just absolutely love it because it gives people an opportunity to see the designs in person, feel the ties. It feels like a very high quality tie, if I do say so myself. And, and you can just talk to them. You can get feedback. What do people think? Which designs do they gravitate towards? So we've only done one in-person event, and we're going to be going to the a men's conference in Austin here pretty soon.
Yep, that's going to be our next one.
Yes, but I just that is where I thrive. I really like the in-person stuff, and we have we really want to get into little Catholic stores. So like St. Joseph Catholic Church has they have a little bookstore, connected to the church. And I really just want to get our ties in there because I really think that people go in there and be like, oh, I love this.
Yeah. And it was actually I believe your interview with Sacrilegious where they mentioned the conferences. And that's where we got the idea from.
Well, and we started in college, we love to table.
Oh, yeah, way back. So going even further back, I suppose. I was big into Turning Point USA at the time, and so I had a position not only as president with our local chapter at the university, but also with a big national organization tabling. So it was a part-time job, and I really enjoyed interacting with people while doing that.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
Nice. How did you come up with how do you decide what designs you're going to start with on the ties?
Yeah, so we wanted to do something where, and this actually delayed us in the process a little bit. So we wanted to basically have a saints for each tie, and then tie in another element with the saint. So if you see the St. Michael tie I'm wearing right now, it's St. Michael along with a sword. And then as you can imagine, Our Lady of Guadalupe with the star that's on a tilma and things like that. So we were trying to figure out how to incorporate that for each design. And the design process, it did take a while, because we were finding that in manufacturing, it wasn't, the quality in terms of the design wasn't coming out good enough. It was way too blurry, just given the materials and the pixels and things like that. So we had to figure out ways around it. A lot of designs ended up being on the scrapping table for now until we can figure something out later. But we solved a lot of the issues where we would do a bust of a saint. So if you look at our St. Francis or St. Joseph ties, it's like a bust and not like a full figure. But we started out as a full figure design
because those details just didn't come out right.
But other ones we managed to finesse it enough, like the St. Michael or Our Lady Guadalupe, where we were able to keep the design intact completely. It just took a while to find the right size and distance and pattern,
but figuring out which images you can do that with. So you can't really do that with the iconic St. Michael. You can't do that with the Our Lady Guadalupe. That just would look weird. So we just found we had to really finesse the size and just figure out what works. It was some growing pains for a couple months there with the printing of the fabric. And then we were going to start with saints specifically, because we thought that, okay, that's infinite designs, right? Basically it is the saints. But we started running into all these issues with printing, and we decided that maybe it was a little too risky to just do saints, because we just didn't know. Okay, so what if we did a Saint Gianna? Okay, she might come out great, but then what if we did a Saint Joan of Arc and she comes out, her details, there's so many, she doesn't come out well. So we decided to go to a switch gears a little bit to the Sacred Insignia collection. And from there on, we decided to go with some symbols, because just like the saints, there is just tons and tons and tons of symbols, and those would translate very well to the ties. And they look more like the traditional tie design that you would typically see like in the office or something.
Yeah, so we came up with like a Sacred Heart, a papal tiara and keys, a Cairo, very classic symbols. And then you asked me too, what inspired us for some of these designs. So of course, as men, we want to be like, very heroic, and we look to like, soldiers, warriors, and things like that. So of course, St. Michael came to my mind.
St. George.
St. George is a future design that we're gonna do. The Vendée Sacred Heart. I don't know how many of your listeners know about the Vendée, but basically they were French laity who fought against the French revolutionaries during that time period. So, to inspire that, crusader-like zeal, the counter-revolutionary zeal, we have a Vendée Sacred Heart tie. So it's things like that, things that men specifically can really cling to.
Yeah, definitely. What's been like the most surprising challenge so far in getting this started? And building off that question, what would be your piece of advice to others who want to start with an idea like you did?
I'd say the biggest hurdle was finding the manufacturer and then working on the actual design itself. So that whole ordeal. So basically the easiest way to have done this would have been just drop ship the ties. Just drop ship a tie. It's going to be a polyester material. Just so your listeners understand, when we're talking about neckties, the three most common is polyester, microfiber, and silk. So on that spectrum, polyester is way, way on the low end. It's the most popular, or most, I wouldn't use the word popular. It's the most out there. There's the most of it just because it's cheap, easy to make. So a lot of your novelty ties are going to be made with polyester. Then you have on the high end, you have silk. So those are going to be very fine, soft fabrics, but those are more expensive. In the middle, you have something called microfiber, Think of like the towels and things like that. But you can also make some clothing materials with it. So neckties can be made out of microfiber. So think of it as an in-between between the two. It's still a synthetic fabric. However, I would argue, in my opinion, in terms of feeling, it actually feels closer to silk than it does to polyester. That's just me. But it's a good in-between where it's able to be offered at a lower price, but still retain a lot higher quality than polyester. So when we were picking what material we wanted to use, polyester, like I said, was out of the question. We're not going to do that. We would just drop ship something. It would be easy, but we wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. It would not be a quality product. So what can we do next? So we had to look for a manufacturer, and a lot of these manufacturers had very high like minimum order quantities and things like that. Things that would have been very cost prohibitive, not only for us, but for the consumer. And we know that right now the economy is not doing well, and a lot of Catholic families try to be very mindful with their spending and things like that. So we started to move away from maybe like silk, at least for the moment, and look at microfiber. Microfiber was a lot better because it offered that lower minimum order quantity, and it would be cheaper for us to get into the business and also for the consumer. So finding somebody took a while, and then getting those designs in place also took a while. That was very frustrating, but just so your listeners also understand, silk ties will come in the future. We will offer both microfiber and silk eventually.
Very cool. How has I always like this question too. Like, how has this been intertwined with your faith life and your marriage as well? Like, how has this been? How's that journey been for you, navigating like starting this and launching this together, and incorporating your faith life? I think it's always interesting. That's one of the most interesting things about the people I get to talk to on this podcast. It's like, you're an entrepreneur and you're a Catholic, and sometimes we can get sucked into like the secular version of entrepreneurship where it's just like grinding, and it's all this time, and it can be hard to make time for prayer. So what's that been like for you both?
You want to start with that one?
I think it's taught me a lot of patience, I guess, and also just kind of understanding and working more on, in a marriage, there's a lot of give and take and learning to, okay, well, and we've had to grow a lot of, trust in each other, with like, we both have access to the website, we can edit it. We both have access to all the social media to post on it, applying for business credit cards, things like that, purchases we make. Like, I think it's a very huge trust exercise for Catholic couples, I think just couples in general, to be like, okay, I completely trust your intellect, your judgment, your background, to be able to discern, okay, what maybe should we do right now? And also listening to the other person. I actually think in a marriage, I'm very inspired by St. Louis and St. Zell, because they also ran a business together. And they're probably one of the most, from the Holy Family, obviously, they are probably one of the most holy families. I mean, they are both saints, and then they also have one of the most iconic saints as a daughter, St. Teresa Lisieux, and they ran a lace business together. And I just find a lot of inspiration in them. And I really think it's a good design for starting a business. And it kind of does temper the kind of what you said with the grind mindset, and working till 9 p.m. at night, and then and then your head hits the pillow immediately afterwards. We really don't believe in that. We really try to have a good work-life balance, if you will. And if I feel like I'm doing too much or something, I really trust that Brendan would take it on, and same vice versa. And unfortunately, Brendan was deployed until just a month ago, and so I had to do basically everything, and that was very challenging. But that was an example of where the scale was way more imbalanced, but you have to make sacrifices and offer it up to our Lord in order to get through it.
Yeah, the biggest challenge for me definitely would be the patience with each other, over, like, if say we had a disagreement about how to approach something. I mean, we're pretty much in the same ballpark with everything, but of course, there are always a few things where I think we should do it this way, or maybe why don't we think of it this way? Because when you have a disagreement, it's not like your typical business partner, or it's not like your coworker, it's your wife.
Yeah.
So you have to keep in check some emotions sometimes, and realize that like it's your spouse, so you got to handle it a certain way.
And not talking to each other like coworkers.
Yeah.
You still have to talk to each other like a husband and a wife. And I think that is a blessing, because
it provides a lot of strengths, but it's at times it's challenges as well. But yes, St. Louis and Zell are a big inspiration for us on this project.
Yeah.
What's both of your favorite tie?
So I actually really like, it's hard to say. So the St. Michael tie has grown on me, seeing it in person. But the one that from the onset that I was like, oh, this tie is really cool. This is really, really cool, is the Our Lady Guadalupe tie. I think that iconic teal color associated with Our Lady of Guadalupe, in terms of just the, I think we captured her image well enough, on the tie, coupled with the star. I mean, to me, it just looks very much like, I don't know. I'm very attracted toward it. For me, it's a very appealing design, and it really promotes Our Lady of Guadalupe. I just really like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. What I like, the ties I like the most are the ones that have the dual meaning and dual purpose. So the Our Lady of Guadalupe, especially, that tilma that she first appeared on, that was part of the purpose of that, was she was like, take this and go show the people, go show that bishop that like he's wrong. So I really like that, because it really, that image tells that story, and how she converted so many people, I mean millions of people, and now we have the opportunity to do that on our tie.
Yeah, like we're ProselyTies,
right?
So we want our ties to ProselyTies, right? So that's a big part of it. And I talked to Trevor, so when I get the opportunity, I'm going to give Trevor from Tridentine Brewing one of those ties. They're out of stock at the moment. They'll be back in stock really, really soon. I'm going to give him one, so when he goes to promote his Cristero beer, he can wear the Our Lady of Guadalupe tie, and I think that'd be a big hit.
Yeah, so I didn't mean to steal your answer a little bit, but so it's one of my, that is one of my favorites. And then another dual purpose one is the St. Benedict medal. So, it's like the seal of protection against evil. It's very much real. The spiritual warfare, it's a very real thing. We're big promoters of it, proponents of it is what I'm trying to say.
I guess one more, I know you said one, but one more would be like the Vendée Sacred Heart tie, because back during those times during the French Revolution, when they were fighting them, what they would do is they would wear a patch of the Sacred Heart on their clothing when they went to go fight. And they viewed it as like kind of as wearing their faith as like protection and things like that. So in that same spirit, putting it on the tie, that's how we would wear that in the modern world. So I think that's like cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Where can people find you and your ties and keep up with what you're doing?
So the best place would be through our social media, so our X account, our Instagram, our Facebook, or going to our website, ProselyTies.com. But definitely keep following that social media, because on certain like special days, we might have a discount. For example, the feast. No, it's not a feast. I wish it was a feast. The anniversary of the martyrdom of King Louis XVI, we knocked down the price for the Vendée Sacred Heart tie. Like I said, we are going to have more designs in the near future, and eventually, sooner rather than later, we will start offering some silk ties. So if you were on the fence or you were waiting, though, you'll hear about it first on social media.
Yeah, so if you want to live liturgically, think of us. If there's a feast day going on, chances are we have some kind of sale going on. So I would say just keep an eye on your liturgical calendar. You should be anyway. And then also, if there are upcoming men's conferences, especially in Texas, we will most likely be there. We do have our ties going to, there is a conference going on in Raleigh, North Carolina. I think it's also a Catholic men's conference that is on, I believe that's on February 8th. So our ties will be there if y'all are interested in the local area, if you're already going to that event. that's where you can find us.
Very cool. Well, thank you both for taking the time to be on. I'm excited for people to learn about these ties. I have two of my own now, so thank you for those. I'm excited to rep those. I will send you a picture when I wear that for Sunday Mass, but I'm super pumped about them. Great work. Thank you both, and blessings on your journey moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Please, yeah, please share those pictures. I would love to see that. And thank you
Will
for
do.
what you do. Like, I'm serious. There's really not that many unique Catholic channels or social media like this is. So keep posting. You are making a splash. You are making an influence. I think we're proof of that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. One last thing, I guess, before you go. Like, are we like some of the first people to really like say like how much of an impact you had and at least put it into action more than just like writing it down on paper?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've never heard that yet before, so that is very humbling and very cool to hear, and I really do appreciate it. And it's a testament to how long, like, I was actually talking to Trevor. I had him on a second time. It's like I've been doing this show for over a year now, and it's been a lot of fun. But it's crazy to look back and see like how many episodes I've done, how many people I've been able to meet, and to hear that you've been listening that long. Like, that's very humbling. So yes, thank you for the kind words. It's super cool.
Yeah,
you
no
have
problem.
a lot of great people on.
Yeah, you get a lot of great people. Like I said, I struggle sometimes with what I do with Papal's Wife International. Sometimes I'm like, oh, not enough people are looking, and not enough people are this or that or buying my books, but it does make an impact. It might be let's say you have a small audience or something that does it well as you think, but the people who do watch it, it's a huge impact. So definitely keep it up. I really look forward to watching more of you in the future.
And Catholics need we need to be bold in the professional space.
Yeah.
And especially
100%.
with our faith. It's been overtaken by Protestant culture, if you will. And so we need to come in as Catholics and say, okay, well, there's other ways to do this, guys. Maybe, we don't have to stick to the 9-to-5 model. We don't have to do all this stuff to, working ourselves to the bone and sacrificing our families. No country is going to stand strong on that. So I think the work that you do, it's so, so valuable.
Yes.
Never stop proselytizing.
Thank you. Thank you both. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. I'm excited to keep up with both you and ProselyTies. So keep up the good work. And yeah, thank you both so much.
Thank you, Mitch.
All right, you have a good night. God bless.
God bless. Bye.